What's going on, guys? So today we're going to be going over the Lightning Blade Dancer, the Awakened version, basically called Thundering Blade, and how you do your simple rotation, what skill points you put into what skills to max them out, just all that knowledge that you need to know to play this class really well. So I hope you guys kind of enjoy this video. It has been very requested by a lot of people, so I hope it's everything you wanted. Let's jump into this video and talk about the Blade Dancer. So what we'll talk about first is what skills you want to pick. First one is Lightning Strikes. This one is pretty self-explanatory because as a Lightning Blade Dancer, you're going to want to use your Lightning Flash and Flicker. That's your main rotation using your animation canceling. So always go this one, Lightning Strides, to get your enhancing of Flicker and Lightning Flash. The next one that I go is Storm Wheel. I really love this one because every time you press tab you get a little movement speed bonus, which is really helpful in like raids and dungeons to move around the map and dodge boss attacks. So I'll show you a little example. It's really fun because you get a little like bonus, you get to like speed up every time. I love it a lot. I mean, you could go the decreased damage one if you feel like you're maybe taking too much damage, but I feel like at this point people have so much HP that this is just kind of overkill. Other one's not good at all, so definitely don't go that one. So you can kind of choose between these two, but I really prefer getting that movement speed bonus every time I use tab. Really helpful. So the next one just kind of depends on what I'm doing. So for example, on my Nightfall Sanctuary raids, I do this one, Storm Swell, because it unlocks Half Moon Block, which gives a massive iframe party bonus to your whole group, which is really important for raids. But if I'm just doing like solo content like Outlaw Island, I'll usually go Storm Guard just because I find it pretty fun. If you're an OG Lightning Blade Dancer player, you'll kind of notice that it's very different because it doesn't replace your Z anymore like it used to if you picked it. What it does is when you use your tab, it actually unlocks it, which is actually a pretty cool thing because you can use this, you can use your F for another iframe, and then you can use your Z for another iframe. So you get like 3 different iframes in a row, so it's really awesome for solo type content. But if you're doing raids or dungeons, you probably want to go Half Moon Block so you help out your whole party. The next one that I go is Assail, and the reason why I go this one is because it's probably better than the other two. Air Resistance really is just more for PvP because it gives you more iframes and it also pulls in the enemies towards you, allows you to knock them up. So it's really good for like 6v6 content and even 1v1s, but in terms of PvE content, not very good. Turn the Tide is okay, but the only thing that really gives that is decent is Flash Step, which allows you to dash forward when you're in draw stance. But I don't really feel like it's a significant enough ability to really pick it over Assail. Now the reason why I like this one is because it gives you Storm Cleave. Now Storm Cleave is a really great skill for 2 reasons. Number one is it reduces the cooldown of your Z by 9 seconds. This is really good because honestly having up your Z is really important. It allows you to do a lot more DPS in draw stance. Increases your critical damage, your critical, your TAD power. It really is just like a steroid for all your abilities that you use in draw stance. So very important skill to get off cooldown as much as possible. So 9 seconds off that is of course really awesome. Other key factor about Storm Cleave is it actually gives you 1 stat of accumulation. Now basically when you have 3 stats of accumulation, you can use Fatal Blade, which is the new Awakened Blade Dancer ability, and this one gives a lot of DPS whenever you use it. Other skills that allow you to get accumulation stats is Lightning Draw and then Thunder Slash. Cool thing about this is these 3 skills are in your rotation, so after using each of these once in your rotation, you instantly can pop off with a Fatal Blade. So this is really important to your overall DPS and just Lightning Blade Dancer rotation. The last skill to talk about is the enhancement of Fatal Blade. This is kind of like the new quote-unquote Awakening Blade Dancer ability. This one is something that I've tested out a lot. I've tested out all 3 and tried to see the best results. Really the one that I got the most DPS out of is Thunder Strut, so this is one I feel like is probably the best one. But obviously it is pretty new in the patch, so you never know. This one basically gives you more bonuses on killing enemies. Obviously if you're doing PvE content and you're killing a boss, you're not going to be able to just one-shot it, so it really doesn't help you out at all. Maybe if you're doing really heavy farming a Celestial Basin and Moon Refuge, that you might find this more useful because you're just one-shotting mobs with this ability and you're getting better bonuses from it. But in terms of PvE content, really not going to help you out at all. Thunderbolts and Lightning is the one that I used a lot early on because what it does is it allows you to use Fatal Blade the most out of the other 2 spets. You get it up way more often, so I was thinking, oh my gosh, I can just spam Fatal Blade, so it must be the best one, right? The only problem is that the damage it gives is not very good, so that's why I kind of switched over to Thunderstruck. Now Thunderstruck is the one that I've seen the most DPS out of from using it. You don't get it up as often as you do with Thunderbolts and Lightning, but the damage is way better. I've also asked a lot of my OG Blade Dancers because I have a lot of Blade Dancer friends, and all of them use Thunderstruck too, so I would say it's definitely safe to assume this is probably the best one for Fatal Blade. So next thing we're going to talk about is what skills to max out with your skill points. If you're not familiar with how to get skill points, just a quick friendly reminder, number one easiest way is to hit level 60. Once you do, you get 5 of them for free, you just have to claim them. Other key way to get them is when you go to your character and you go to your skills. When you unlock all the different skills, you have to use Bloodstone Fragments. You get extra little skill points that you can use to enhance your skills in the Awakened version. So make sure you do that, get your Bloodstone Fragments, trade those in to unlock these and get more skill points. So what skills I kind of max out first is number one, Lightning Flash. This is your core ability as a Lightning Blade Dancer. This is really where all your damage comes from, so it made sense to max it out ASAP. Another one I max out is Fatal Blade. This is one of your best abilities for the Awakened version of Blade Dancer. It's a really awesome ability, gives you a ton of DPS, and maxing it out is a pretty big difference. Originally I only had 3 points in it, but if you look at 3 points, it gives a base of 124,000. You max it out to 5 points, 131,000 as a bonus. So that's around a 7,000 damage increase at least for maxing out this skill, which is really awesome. Other one I put points into is Flicker because, again, it's part of your main rotation with Lightning Flash. You use Lightning Flash and Flicker together with animation canceling to get a ton of DPS. So putting points into this is self-explanatory. Only reason why I didn't max it out is because I chose to max out Fatal Blade instead, because it gives a better skill bonus when you max it out. So if you look at the difference here, you have a base of 15,900. You max this out, it goes up to 16,300. Compared to Fatal Blade, which as I said earlier is a 7,000 damage increase. Once I get more skill points, I'll definitely be maxing out Flicker, and then I'll probably work on maxing out Thunder Slash, and then go on to Lightning Draw, and then so on and so forth. So that's really the key ones you want to max out. So now we're going to begin to the fun part and actually showcasing the rotation of the Blade Dancer. I'm just going to do a quick little example of it, and then I'll go more into detail on how it works after. So let's kind of burst this guy down and see how much DPS we can do. Here we go. So now just to kind of break down the rotation, one thing just to start off, which is pretty simple, but I used to kind of do as like a bad Blade Dancer. Basically what I would do is start with my Z and then X in right here. And by the time I got dashed into the boss, I already lost like 2 seconds of my Z during the phase of its critical bonuses and everything. So number one thing, make sure when you go into the boss, you use X and then Z right around the same time. But you want to use X a little bit quicker. And you kind of want to make sure you get that so you get the maximum DPS from your Z until it goes off cooldown again. After that, you know, you X in Z and then you'll use your C, which is your Lightning Draw, reduces the cooldown of your Z, and then you can pop a Storm Cleave. After you pop the Storm Cleave, you can instantly go into Fatal Blade, which as you can see in the rotation example, it boosted my DPS up by like a huge amount. And then you just kind of rinse and repeat. It's pretty simple. Blade Dancer for Lightning build is not really hard to play at all. The only hard part I would say is just make sure that you get down the animation canceling. So I'll show you guys a little example here. Knowing how to animation cancel on Lightning Blade Dancer is probably the most important thing you can learn, because using Lightning Flash and Flicker together to get that animation cancel is really where all your DPS is coming from, and being able to do that properly will get you off a lot more DPS compared to someone who can't. So this is probably the number one priority you really want to learn if you're serious about being a Lightning Blade Dancer. Personally, how I animation cancel is I just hold down F and time it with the LMB. So I just hold down F and then just time it like this. That's how I do it. There's no really right or wrong answer. Some people do it where they'll press F and LMB together and just keep tapping them. I like holding down F just because it's less hand fatigue, and I can just kind of chill and relax and just press LMB every time. That's how I like to do it, but whatever way works for you is fine. Really, besides that, the only thing to talk about is just your gear, and most of that is pretty self-explanatory, like your weapon, your accessories, all that's pretty simple. Your bracelet, you want to get the Divine Dragon bracelet for Lightning Blade Dancers, and then eventually get the Divinity bracelet after you've done enough Master Hand, or I call it Torture, whatever you want to call it. And then after that is just badges. You go Dynasty Mystic badge, it enhances your ETS, which is really awesome, gives you a ton of burst damage. So definitely get this from Vortex Temple, or I think you can get it for Helion Cores too, so if you want to do it that way. And then last but not least is your Soul badge. So this is the best in slot currently right now. What you have to do is get a Courage Soul badge and the Segwood Soul badge, and then enhance them together. And it really syncs with all your abilities really well. One thing to talk about is the new pink badges. Everyone's been, kind of saying they're really, really good. Currently, I'm working towards it right now, the Songbird Soul badge, which enhances your Fatal Blade by a ton. 3,000 attack power bonus. Really, really strong. Currently, since I don't have it yet, I can't really test it out. I've heard it's pretty damn good, but I don't really feel like it's probably better than the Fused Soul badges we have now. Once it allots its fused version, it might be better, honestly, but for now I would still recommend getting your Courage Soul badge and probably your Segwood. With this event going on, they're not that hard to get, so make sure you get that. Also, on a side note, for some reason, if you can only get like one soul badge right now, you want to get the Courage Soul badge because it's actually way better on its own compared to Segwood, which is kind of crappy by itself. So if you only get one, get the Courage Soul badge and then save up and then get the Segwood and then eventually fuse them together, of course. But really, guys, that's the video. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, of course, leave it in the comments. I will answer it. Make sure you join the Discord and the link in the description. Sub to the channel, like the video, all that good stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next video real soon. Thank you.